Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it will be much worse in the future.
The biggest Ponzi scheme of all time. That was Elon Musk, the tech billionaire, arguing last Friday on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast that one of America's most enduring social safety nets is a massive fraud. Yeah, Elon Musk calling Social Security a Ponzi scheme, which, by the way, prompted more suspicion that the world's richest man is hoping to privatize a social safety net that has existed since the 1930s and has kept millions of elderly, poor, and disabled Americans from destitution. But let's be fair, and I want to be fair to Elon Musk. He's far from the first conservative to characterize Social Security as a Ponzi scheme, which by the way, refers to a type of fraud in which existing customers get payouts that come from the investments of new customers. Now, I want you to take a listen to what another conservative, House Speaker Mike Johnson, says about crucial entitlement programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid.
The reality is they're headed towards bankruptcy. In just a few number of years, Social Security goes belly up. So does Medicare, Medicaid, all of these big spending programs, because we're drowning in debt. And so we've got to think about long-term reforms to those programs.
So Musk's attack on Social Security, it's nothing new, not really. We all know that Social Security is under heavy scrutiny. And saying heavy scrutiny, that might be an understatement, might be the understatement of the decade. Now, if you don't remember what Donald Trump said in his first term about cutting entitlements, well, then let me remind you.
One last question.
Go ahead.
Entitlements ever be on your plate?
At some point they will be. We have tremendous growth. We're going to have tremendous growth. This next year, it'll be toward the end of the year. The growth is going to be incredible. And at the right time, we will take a look at that. You know, that's actually the easiest of all things, if you look, because it's such a big percentage.
If you're willing to do some of
If you don't cut something in entitlements, you'll never really deal with the debt.
We'll be cutting, but we're also going to have growth like you've never had before.
You changed your outlook on how to handle entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, Mr. President. It seems like something has to be done, or else we're going to be stuck at 120% of debt to GDP forever.
So first of all, there is a lot you can do in terms of entitlements, in terms of cutting.
So Musk's attack on one of our most cherished entitlement programs is nothing new. Not really. It's been boiling. These attacks, they've just been boiling in the Trump pot for a long time, for years. But fortunately, not everyone is waiting for the Trump pot to boil over. Here's how Senator Bernie Sanders responds to Musk. Wrong, Elon. Social Security has paid every benefit owed to every eligible American for 86 years. We can make it solvent for the next 75 years and expand benefits by scrapping the cap that allows billionaires like you to pay the same amount into Social Security as a truck driver. Now, beyond Musk's reckless attack on Social Security, he got some other things flat out wrong. He claims that people are living way longer than expected, and actually that's a valid claim. But they're also working way longer than expected, and they're not always working longer by choice. About 56% of older workers are pushed out of their long-term jobs because of ageism. And here's the kicker. Here is the kicker. Only 1 in 10 ever again earns as much as they earned prior to being pushed out of their job because of their age. Now, this means that decades of skills and experience are being wasted, and these folks, they end up contributing less to Social Security. So fix ageism, and guess what? People earn more, contribute more, and maybe, just maybe, we move the needle on Social Security's so-called insolvency crisis. Then Musk brought up declining birth rates. Now, I want you to keep something in mind. This is coming from a guy with 14 kids. Now, what Musk didn't mention is why so many other people are having fewer children. And here's a simple reason. They can't afford to. In this economy, raising a family isn't just a choice. It's a financial challenge that many just can't take on. Now, I get this question quite a bit. Do I think Social Security will be cut anytime soon? Now, if the person asking that question, if they're asking me, do I think checks will be cut? Well, I don't foresee that happening, at least not for the people currently receiving Social Security checks. But if they are asking if services will be cut, well, honestly, I think the answer is staring us in the face. Just last week, reports came out that 7,000 SSA workers, that's Social Security Administration workers, are being laid off, with the possibility of cutting up to 50% of the total Social Security Administration workforce. Now, the week before that, we found out that DOGE shut down 10 Social Security offices, with more closures on the way. And let's not forget the repeated promises over the years, and even currently, very recently, from Musk, Trump, and Johnson to slash entitlement programs. So when you ask me the question, do I think Social Security services will be cut? I just say, what more proof do you need? Well, that is all I've got for you today. If you have any questions, go ahead, put them in the comments section. If you got any comments, yes, I'd love to hear them. Love to hear what your thoughts are. If you're somebody out there who is saying, well, I don't believe any of this, well, just play this video over again and pay particular attention to Musk, to Johnson, and President Trump's comments. If you have any disagreement with anything that I've said here today, anything that we've talked about, play the video one more time and you can decide for yourself, objectively decide for yourself. Well, as I said, that's all I've got for you. If you are inclined, go ahead and subscribe to Over 50 TV. I also have a second channel called Side Hustle Rules. And on that channel, what I do is I tell folks how to go ahead and start a side hustle. I also explain how you can start a full-time business. And I use my experience as someone who owned and ran a chain of business-to-business magazines. I started them from scratch, from one. I sold the company. Eventually it grew to 17 offices, 17 cities. So yeah, you can check out Side Hustle Rules while I explain how to go ahead and build a business. Now, I do have a free email that you can sign up for. And on that email, what I do is I just give you regular updates on what's going on and talk about things that I really don't talk about, or things that I'm not talking about here on my channel on Over 50 TV. So if you're inclined, subscribe. Other than that, as I always say, have a great day, everybody.